New York audience goers, the world premiere play of Tin Church is now being presented by Off the Wall Productions at the Chain Theater on 36th Street. It's written and directed by the true multi-hyphenate, Robin Parrish. I'm a big fan of Robin's, as she really is one of the most talented entrepreneurial creatives that I know. She's a great actor in her own right, but also a tremendous writer and director. And Off the Wall is lucky to have her. This new play, Tin Church, is an unsettling Southern Gothic exploration of generational trauma and the secrets families keep. The dream and waking world collide in this intensely dark comedy where demons come out to play in the low country South. I love it. To be actually 100%, I don't even fully know what Southern Gothic means, but Robin has said that to me several times. And it feels, I don't know, gay. Fantastical in all of the ways to me. I'm not calling it a gay play. I'm just saying us gays might like it. It's running October 23rd through November 23rd at the Chain Theater, and tickets can be purchased at InsideOffTheWall.com. That's InsideOffTheWall.com. And for Creative Risk listeners, you can use code TA24 for 50% off tickets. TA24 for 50% off tickets. October 23rd through November 23rd, Tin Church, world premiere play, Robin Parrish. Go see it.
Late night, here with my friends under the big sky. Pass me a joint, I wanna feel high. Numb to whoever wants to stand in our way.
Do you want to experience a musical that blends cultures, history, and electrifying performances? Well, if you're in New York City, look no further than Distant Thunder, now playing off-Broadway at the ART New York theaters. This is a really powerful production. It's the first mainstream indigenous musical to premiere in New York, and it tells a story of a young attorney reconnecting to his Blackfeet heritage, setting off an emotional journey of identity and rediscovery. It features gorgeous melodies that intertwine pop rhythms with indigenous drumming and dance. I mean, this musical is unlike anything else on stage today, or probably that's ever been on stage, to be honest. Critics like Theater Mania are highlighting its beautiful and meaningful indigenous dances and talented, vocally impressive cast that makes each performance feel authentic and very alive. It's a joyful celebration of community, tradition, and personal growth that you won't want to miss. I am great friends with Sean Taylor Corbett, who conceived, stars in, co-wrote the book, music, and lyrics to this show. Sean's had a pretty amazing, prolific career on Broadway and a bunch of other theaters all over the country. And this is him stepping into producing for the first time. This is a labor of love he's worked on for many years, and I am so happy to see the success that it's having. And what you're hearing right now is actually a song from the show called Strong Enough. And, I mean, come on, it fucking slaps. Performances run through October 27th in New York City at the ART New York theaters. Visit www.amasmusical.org. That's AMAS musical.org to grab your tickets today and join the thunderous celebration that is Distant Thunder.
First off, everyone needs to listen to your podcast. I think you guys are probably my most favorite industry podcast out there, because you guys really teach actors how to actually be entrepreneurs, how to actually market themselves. So I also do feel like every actor should think of themselves as a business person.
Hello, everybody. So excited for this episode today with David Garelik and Ryan Czerwonko from Adult Film and Theater. So Adult Film is a burgeoning company and artistic training center based out of a Bushwick basement, and it welcomes no more than 30 people per performance. I know about Adult Film very well. They're part of what's called the Loft scene, the Loft theater scene happening in New York. I mean, they, couple other companies, are really what you would identify as the indie theater scene in New York. You know, no institutional support. It's not part of Off-Broadway or whatever. This is true true theater happening like in people's basements, in people's apartments. And adult film is really, really cool. They recently hosted a festival there where they were screening plays or they were showing plays and screening films and doing all this stuff. I mean, it's a super cool company. They have artists like Tina Satter come and teach there, Maria Ditzia. I mean, it's a really cool community of people. And I am incredibly impressed with the work that happens there and with the community that's grown up around this basement theater. It's very, very cool. Ryan's the artistic director. David, I believe, is a company member. You can follow Adult Film at adultfilm.nyc on Instagram. They have their own podcast called the Adult Film Pod, which I listen to. It's very cool. So enjoy this conversation where Joshua, me, David, and Ryan talk about this burgeoning indie theater scene, what the mainstream theater is missing, and then we really have a deep artistic conversation as well. So hope you enjoy this episode. Hey all, Mike here. Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to ask you to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell below us if you're watching on YouTube, or be sure you follow us on your favorite podcast listening app, if that's your preferred way of engaging with the podcast. And if you're feeling extra generous, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We read them all, even the bad ones. So leave a review there. Lastly, if you enjoy Creative Risk and you want to dive deeper, consider joining our Patreon community. We offer 3 membership tiers starting at just $5. As a member, you're going to get early access to ad-free episodes, weekly motivational content, bonus full-length episodes, and much more, including a book club. Come on. But it's more than just content. You'll be a part of a community dedicated to accountability and support, helping you stay motivated and inspired. So head over to patreon.com/creative risk podcast. Check out the description below for that link and sign up today. We're good.
How are you with babies?
Babies, I'm great. Children,
Really?
I love children. No, I do. I actually get along with kids well.
I feel like kids and dogs, I feel like, are similar, and then cats are their own thing.
Yeah, cats are like...
My cat's like a dog, though.
Yeah,
Really?
I can kind of see that. Yeah, Mike. Well, no. Can you please talk about out loud about like what your issues with cats? And it's not that he doesn't like cats.
No,
but
it's
what's
not.
Your issue with
No.
cats?
I guess I don't like withholding. I've dated too many white women. I don't like withholding. It's not recording.
No, it is. I just want to make sure I'm
No,
crazy.
thank you.
No, this
I'm
is
glad
Mike-
somebody
this
else
Mike
is.
the entire time.
Yes. The tism is going to come in soon for me.
But also, what's good about all the different tracks is you can configure the volume. however.
Yeah.
Okay, white
Yeah.
women dating them, withholding.
No, date. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
used to dating withholding white women. So there's something about a cat that feels unattainable. Anyway, I don't
This,
know why I
I kinda
started-
like
dude,
the
this cat's
emotional
honestly
challenge.
different, man.
I
This
think
cat's
it's.
a fucking
I think
whore.
it's on the.
And it wants to be like pressed down and
It's like a dog.
controlled.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do some
Good to know.
anti-racist.
David has a dominant.
Yeah.
I dude, I
Popped
honestly
out.
didn't get it. I didn't get it. I was like, the cat keeps like, I'm like petting it and it's always leaving. I'm like, I guess I just decided the cat's not into me. And then I saw how Ryan handled the cat and I was like, wait a minute. Maybe
Right.
that's the cat's
How does he
blueprint.
have confidence? How do you handle
No,
the cat?
No,
just
he
puts
likes-
the cat
he
down.
like- he
literally
likes-
Yeah, I
likes
saw
rough
that.
touch.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
get
he
the
likes a
fuck
big
on.
rough touch.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
Stay
yeah.
there. Like
Oh.
grab the cat, put the cat
This is
down.
right. Careful.
Spirits
I
a sub. Spirits a sub.
I'm sensing
Keep
the
going.
heat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shoves his
Be
face into the
careful.
floor and then what?
All right.
Then call him a dirty slut. Sorry,
I
this is like
think-
your cat. This is like his like.
I
Yo,
think-
stop talking about my cat.
Okay, my cat's a switch. Okay, he's a
Okay.
bisexual switch, just like his daddy. All right.
Love it. Listen, this podcast is all about lifting up queer voices. That's
Thank
our
God. Thank God.
primary-
I finally found a podcast. For
Hello?
that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, listen, I really am stoked to be chatting with you guys. I've heard so much about you for so long.
From who?
All different kinds of people. You guys are doing some really great shit.
Thanks.
And from
Yeah.
certainly from Mike, but from my partner, from Mia, I've heard like all kinds of amazing things about the work you're doing, and so I'm stoked to be having a conversation about. I also argue a very different scene in New York that I would argue you're very much creating in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think there's a few scenes as you would there's it's like there's more the like I think of it as the normie
Mm-hmm.
scene,
Yeah.
which is like your average person like
Yeah.
pursuing
Right.
TV or film, or like maybe like a musical theater type or something like that.
Right,
And then there's like this sort of like downtown,
Very institutional off-Broadway scene.
yes,
almost.
there's that.
Yeah.
But then there's also like the downtown, like see,
Like La
the
Mama
scene
or some
yeah,
shit.
Like Club
Yeah.
Thumb.
No, like the independent film community, and
Bleep people
like
up.
Betsy and Peter are part of it,
Yes.
and like
Yes.
that type of stuff. And then we're something a little like we have overlap with that,
Yes.
definitely. But I do feel like it's different.
Did
Yeah.
you do you feel like when you I don't know when you
Hold a
either
little
of
closer to your face.
when either of you came to New York, but was the vibe always to create your own thing?
I came here, so I started in Chicago, and
Uh-huh.
then I moved to Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
and then I moved here in January 2018.
Okay.
And pre-pandemic, I did have this group that was like, we had like performance art parties that were more like installations around an apartment where you'd see like, and sometimes like a short play or something would be a part of that, but it wasn't nearly on like any scale. Like it was just something we were doing occasionally. So I was doing that, but there wasn't really this all really just blew up after COVID. There wasn't really
wild.
people weren't
And
really
give
doing
context. Like I think just for like the newbie listener who doesn't know about what you all are doing, like how would you describe it? What is it? What?
Well, it's a theater and film group
Yeah.
and an artistic training center,
Yeah.
in the simplest terms, I guess.
And why do those three do you feel need to work in conjunction with the other?
So, well, and then all of the theater, the film, and the training, it all kind of harkens back to our inspirations, which are everything from like the group theater to Steppenwolf to
Yeah.
Andre Gregory to Nico Sacharopoulos' work at Williamstown, even the Wooster Group to some extent.
Yeah.
And it just kind of reinterprets that for now, because I feel all of the things those groups represent, it like practically doesn't exist anymore, and there's a huge void in even those
Yeah.
organizations that still do exist. They're like 40 years, 50 years on now. It's
Right.
a totally different story. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like our group really focuses on acting, and I feel like a lot of people watch films and they see the film or the frame,
Yeah.
but not necessarily the actor within it. And I feel like a lot of people watch theater and see the play, but they
Right.
don't really have an understanding of what the actor does.
Right.
So it's really focused. The training is really focused on acting, even though it's for writers and directors as well. But it's acting, and then growing that a shared understanding of acting values into theater and film, and kind of collapsing the boundaries between them. Not saying that they're not different, but like kind of decategorizing things.
Well, I think what you're talking about too is like what's interesting is like, because we talk to, artists like you who are super cool. Then we also talk to more like traditional industry people. And in general, there's just a lack. Specialization is going away, like in a lot of ways. It's like when you talk about like the blurring of the, like, and it's cool that you guys have you're centering the actor's position across these two mediums, because what's so big right now, if you look at like what the industry wants, especially in film, it's like we want creators, we want people who can do everything, and you guys have people who do that. You guys are
and like
doing
the
that.
training also, it lends itself to like actors becoming more comfortable as writers or directors, or writers or directors becoming more comfortable with actors.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Did you read that? I love this book. I'm obsessed with this book. How the 20th Century Learned to Act. Have you read this book?
No.
It came out.
Oh wait, The Method. The Method.
The Method.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
Couldn't put it down.
My favorite book on acting in a really long time, and what you're talking about sort of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I just want that feeling of like, not exactly the same thing, but like that sort of like, I mean, we're really cultivated. Like, this is all, like, I love acting training, and I
Yeah.
love all of that, and I love how, you know, it's like Paul Newman and whoever would just be like, go in a class.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody does that now. So
What do you
it's
love
like,
about it? What do you love about that?
It's like religious. I don't know.
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Also, Ryan has, to me, not to me, Ryan's built this place. I
Yeah.
left New York. A big reason why I came back to New York was because of what Ryan was building.
Go on.
But I will say, what's becoming clear and clear to me is like what's special about it is you have people in class that are completely different. Look, class is in a fucking basement. There's no glamour
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
We're pretending like the scene is set here, the scene is set there. You're in a fucking basement.
Yeah.
People are showing up and like, I mean, look, like in the past year, the level has like grown tremendously.
Oh my God. People
Right.
Level of talent.
The
people
level of talent and also
The
grown
scale.
talent.
You guys have,
like
yeah.
it's just both, and everything is growing. But I feel like it's growing because of Ryan's continual reinvestment into this thing that he's building. Like I'm sure that Ryan can see it, but he's also building it and has like, you know, like the pressure.
I
of
can,
building
but
it.
I'm also like totally drowned all the time.
But it's
Yeah.
but what's exciting is like the community. I mean, you have like Ryan's roommate Chris. Chris is in his 60s, right?
Whoa, he's 53.
Really? Can we edit that?
I mean,
So Chris, I mean, Chris is
Chris is in his 20s, right?
no, but really, Chris is.
he's like a grizzled biker type.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when I met Chris, I was like, interesting that to me it felt like this person's coming here for like a different kind of, I don't know, a different life. I never thought. I'll be honest. I didn't think that he was. I never thought about him as an actor. I'm doing a play with Chris.
That's fucking dope.
Chris
dude.
is elite. I'm telling you.
yeah,
If
yeah.
I don't show up, he's going to maul me.
Yeah, right.
Chris is also in my class on Fridays now.
That's fucking
It's
wild.
like
Yeah, so it's
surreal.
really like my Alexander teacher, Karen Braga. I don't ever heard of
That
her.
name is familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, so she was like, I think she was an original member of MCC Theater, which stood for Manhattan Class Company,
Uh-huh.
and they started as like a series of peer-led classes.
Well, you know what's
mean-
wild about this? Because this gets to a question. Because one thing about the whole, you know, you guys, you know, the other sort of like loft, I guess you call it loft scene, living room theater scene places, is there's not just actors in the fucking audience. Like there is, it's become what from
Right.
what I
Let's talk about
see from the
this.
people engaged is culturally, it's
This is
not
what I mean,
just
the
a
scene.
theater
I
institutional
don't think
elite.
I think it's mostly not actors.
Which is to me is fucking. I mean, I think it's in very line with just overall democratization of just entertainment in general. And it's like, one question I have for you guys is, what don't the fucking institutions get? Like the institutional theater, whether it's nonprofit, like, you know, off Broadway, whether it's fucking, you know, commercial producers, whatever, and sort of like the mainstream institutional
What are they
theater.
missing?
What are they missing?
Well, I'll just refer to the little I won't say what it is, but the little
We'll
anecdote
bleep it out. We'll bleep it
I
out,
was
yeah.
saying earlier about that play.
Yeah.
I saw this play, and there was it was like a doorway on the stage with no wall around
Right.
it, just a
Right.
door, like
Right.
several doors to different rooms. And an actor ran to it and was, you know, she's supposed to be pounding on it. She was not really pounding on it. She was sort of like stage
And why that
pound-
choice too?
stage pounding on
Oh,
it.
I see. Like just
Like yeah, sort of, you know what I mean? Like and the door itself was like wobbling.
Yeah.
So that just to me is like, throughout that whole play, no one's really doing anything.
It's all a lie.
No one's doing anything. And I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the reality of I'm not talking about like the action of the play. I'm just like, no one's like actually really do it's all like representations of an idea of doing a physical action or something. And I think that just bleeds out to every fucking aspect of it, including how people are with each other when they're making things, because clearly everyone's gonna get fucking sued if they fucking express any part of themselves that's
Right.
like, you know what I mean? It's just like ridiculous. It's like so ridiculous. And and the conditions probably, yeah, it's just like you can't like mount or whatever, and that's
This cat's cool.
those are set
Crazy
pieces. The
move.
vapes are
Yeah.
not mine. They're set pieces for the show.
This cat's like, I want to
Spirit.
fucking hit. No, but you know what I like about what you're, you know, the representational element is fascinating because like there's so much pedagogy. I feel like too, and like so many like, oh, we've seen. There's a lack of risk taking too, because it's like, oh, we've seen. You know, that's why I always say for fucking Shakespeare, it's like, you know, the reason why most say Shakespeare blows, is because we have 600 years of Hamlet's supposed to be melancholy. Richard III is supposed to be this way, and it's like nowhere does anybody fucking say that anywhere. That matters. Doesn't, and even if William Shakespeare did say that, who the fuck cares? It's like, but there's a lack of risk taking, and there's like a familiarity that, of course, only speaks to a narrow demographic. It's the dead theater, like fucking Peter Brook talked about. It's like I want to see the representation of the thing I've seen a million fucking times. That's safe. That's fucking this way.
Well, it's very strange. I find that most performances I see, and this is what we don't do with our I find like everyone's doing this sort of like narrating thing as if they're like relating like a dead husk of an experience that already happened in some like distant like a couple weeks ago or something when they're acting. Because I don't know what that is. But anyway, we really don't narrate here. It's just the thing, but also like talking about being in a basement or whatever, like we really work with like this is really here. This wall is really here. You know, it's like I find that like the also like what we kind of said, I find that the fakeness of a set or whatever, acknowledging the fakeness is actually like a huge creative springboard. Because you're not trying to like trick yourself to be in that actual circumstance. You're like doing art.
It's irrelevant, you know, and then I'll shut up because I'm talking too much. But like, it's like when people say methinks in Shakespeare, like it's like I always have a point of view when I say I don't care. I don't care if I'm playing fucking the most serious character ever. If I'm saying methinks, I'll fucking say I know I'm saying fucking methinks, which is stupid as fuck. And it's like, let's not like pretend. That it's like
exactly.
Not weird.
And that's why I like you as an actor so much, because you have like this like your personality as a person has like. You have like a really fun sense of humor and theatricality, and I definitely like frame my own theatricality in my acting.
Right. Yeah.
Because I like it.
And David, so you left New York.
Yeah.
And then came back in large part. You're saying because
you moved here when you were like 22 or something, right?
I mean, no, I moved here. I moved to New York when I was 19. And there was a period when I was in LA, but I left New York after like the pandemic. I left New York in like 2021, 2022, somewhere in there. I came back last June. For the year and a half before then, I left. But as I was starting to come back to New York a little bit more, here and there for like a weekend or whatever, it started to like what Ryan was building. I mean, look, it's called adult film. When you tell anybody about adult film, everyone's like, this is a porn company or what are you doing? Like Ryan was doing like, you know, and just talking to Ryan, I mean, my kind of gripe with New York at the time was that like there were all these like rules to play by and like and I didn't feel like it. And I was like, if I have to be selected by like these people and I need to pretend like I believe this and this and this and this and this and that, and if I don't believe in this, that means I'm burning crosses in my front yard, then I think I gotta leave.
Yeah, dude. Well, I love that you're saying that because because look, some people might disagree. You know, I know that I'm getting a sense of to you, and it's like I know that we're on the same page with some things, but it's like what I don't appreciate is a lack of freedom in the theater, and when you feel like there is institutional pressure to censor your art making. And you have to be in any rehearsal room, I mean, you know, where you feel there is a sense of fear. I mean, you talk about this too, because you're fucking crazy. It's like, you know, that is not a way to work. And so, like, are these rules you're talking about, are they political rules? Are they like...
Everything combined. It's like the tiptoeing of, like, in order for you to be the kind of person who's worthy of working in our system, you better believe all of these things, or you're clearly not like us.
And even, I was just talking to... I met up with this director who works a lot in universities and institutional theater and stuff, and I like his work a lot. But we were talking, and I was talking about the Seagull, and probably 40 or 50% of the show was completely different every night because we would just play games and be like, let's see who can wreck the play.
Yeah.
With as letting it get so thin, it could we would Chris and I would be like, let's see how many times we can kiss each other on the mouth during the scene, and shit like that, and the play still has to move forward or whatever, but really because of how comfortable we're with each other, really being able to let's stretch the fabric of this so that almost rips, but still moving it forward. And he was just stunned that we were able to do something like that. And I'm like, yeah, in at a show at a regional theater or whatever, if you have I would do things and people would have the same exact vocal intonations every night. And if you did something, if you changed not even the physical map, but if you change the emotional map, people think you're crazy or
You
something.
should tell your Patty LaPone story.
Go on. Oh,
My least favorite person on the planet.
But I'll say, so here's what's interesting. So I do a lot of commercial shit, and I actually like the commercialization of art. I think it's a real weird game to play.
Mm-hmm.
But also, when 15 years ago, when I first left school, I started a theater company called No Rules Theater Company. And the whole point came from, I remember it was someone in an audition. They were auditioning, we were doing Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and someone was like, can I jump on the table? I was like, chef, there's no rules. But my point is a value that I see in what you're talking about, and a lot of what we talk about. Waiting for no one, creating your own rules, following your own values once you've identified what those are, and subsequently, chasing after and creating the art that you want to make as part of that. And that can be done at all levels. But what I love about what you guys are creating is, I'm careful when I say it's a fuck you, because I think it's kind of too diminishing of what it is.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, it is to some extent.
It's
but also I'm just I just like to be. It's I'm criticizing this stuff. I still want to book a Hulu show,
Right, of course.
and I still want to work at the whatever,
Right,
and
of
all these
course.
whatevers, and I'd still like to work with this director and whatever.
Yeah.
I would also be interested to see how my work, how I could, kind of fuck within the lines, you know what
Yes.
mess up within the lines. And I do feel like it's sort of my mission or something in life to be bring people back to this.
Well, let me
a
ask
little
you
bit or
this,
something.
because that to me is a very naturally entrepreneurial mindset.
yeah,
Meaning,
yeah,
any good business, I don't care what the fuck it is. You're selling shoelaces, you're making art, doesn't matter what it is. You want to make it sustainable, which I want to talk about, which I know we want to talk about. You bring your own sense of process or style to whatever it is. Your own, you're going to color outside the lines a bit while still working within a structure.
Yeah.
Do you prescribe to that though, or not? Do you not prescribe to the idea of any sense of entrepreneurialism, quote unquote, as part of this?
well, just three thoughts in succession before I lose them.
Yeah.
Going back to the fuck you thing, I want it to be a healthy fuck you that's part of a conversation.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is the things that we're doing, I don't think they're actually rather traditional. I don't think they're actually fuck yous.
Yeah.
They're simply
Getting back to
people just
basics in
being
some
how
ways.
they are and
Yeah.
doing what they want in a world
Yeah.
where literally everything is the opposite.
Uh-huh.
And then is it? Yeah, I'm sort of I'm naturally entrepreneurial, but it's very natural is the key word, because it's really organic.
Right.
Because I didn't plan on this is the only thing I didn't try to
Right.
grip for in my
Right.
life.
Right.
Truly, I spent my whole 20s gripping for my
Mm-hmm.
acting career or whatever. And this was just this. I never planned for it. Obviously we have goals to some extent, but not really. it's just kind of one thing evolving into we have artistic goals or long-term artistic projects that we're setting up because we're at the place that we can do that now, or there's enough artists to do that now. But it's not really. No, I don't know.
How does this sound to you? Art that blurs the boundaries between touch and sight, metal and paper, nostalgia and the future. That sounds pretty fucking cool. So I'm talking about my buddy Gabe Aiello III. He's a master printmaker and cyanotype engineer working from his studio in the Bronx in New York City. Gabe's work pushes the limits of printmaking and sculpture, creating vivid, multi-layered etchings on metal, canvas, and industrial surfaces. His pieces reflect themes as broad as love and memory and as provocative as virtual warfare and, of course, human connection. With a background in studio art and physics, which was honed in institutions in Miami, Japan, and China, Gabe seamlessly combines chemical, mechanical, and artistic techniques. His work has been featured in renowned venues around the world, including the Louvre in Paris, MoMA in New York, and the Low Art Museum in Miami. So whether you're drawn to the striking interplay of engineering and art, or you're curious about the process behind his unique cyanotype creations, Gabe's portfolio is a must-see. Frankly, his art is very much my vibe and aesthetic, and it's collected internationally by many people. I'm a huge fan of Gabe's work. So explore his world at www.gabeaiello, that's AIELLO, GabeAielloArt.com, or follow him on Instagram at Aiello Studio. That's once again GabeAielloArt.com or at Aiello Studio on social media, where industrial form meets artistic soul.
I want to lift up about this whole for both of you guys. I mean, look, you know, you guys obviously now look, it could have happened organically. And the reason, a big value of ours, the reason why, we have this fucking business where, we're at universities and we coach individuals, whatever, is because what always bothered me is the lack of transparency around business.
That's really weird.
Say again?
It's really weird.
And not only is it's elitist to me.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's
designed to gaslight artists.
And I think it's designed to gaslight us, to just be like, play by our rules. We're in charge. You just get a job. And the lack of transparency around, well, how do I grow a community? How do I market
elitism,
myself?
like masking as like democratization.
Well,
like
it's masking as like artistic integrity. It's like, we don't want to do it, but like, you guys fucking make money. You guys have classes.
Yeah.
You guys fucking market those classes. You guys fucking market your shows. It's like, it's not, and that's not icky, right? It's like it's part of how you fucking have to live, and so that's why, like, like your class, like you have this class. Actually, I'm curious about the class.
Well,
but
Ryan, we both teach
the dramatic improv. Yeah, both you guys teach it.
Yeah.
And it's like, because like that's you seeing taking a skill set, seeing a need. You think that there's a need for this skill set, like people to learn this process because it'll make them better actors, whatever. And it's like, this is something that, what I'm so impressed by, just all the classes and the fact that the producing and whatever, is that you guys can make money providing value. That's fucking the best.
Totally. And it's like, from the plays to the classes, it's like, it's the same model as like HB Studio. They're just really affordable. Like, we're not trying to like, whatever. It's really affordable. And then it's not intimacy, but like the experience of the plays or the experience of being here. Everyone's like, of course I'll pay $30 to go do that because I want to support these people. It's not this sort of like, wait, I bought $100 ticket to see what? To something that I have like no personal connection with. So you come here and, basically for a donation to keep this place going and to keep our time being valued for it, you're buying like an actual community, sort of.
The elitism too comes from both sides. I mean, realistically, it's like, just to jump for a second to class, Ryan gave me an opportunity to teach. I always thought that I'm like a communicator and I've worked hard for it, so I just have pieced things together, but I never knew. He gave me an opportunity for that. But the thing is, man, the idea of like a working actor signing up for my class is a massive, massive jump in terms of like, why the fuck would I take your class when I have another class that's filled with people who are on TV or this? So like, it takes a little bit of friction and time for people to trust. And so what's so impressive about what Ryan's built is that like, like now I feel like we're getting to the precipice where like there's a lot of good actors and it's undeniable. And that's like kind of the fruits of the labor. And now like it's coming to the place where like it's not a jump to invite a lot of industry, even though like it's not a jump anymore.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it would have been like kind of like pulling a favor. Now, like, if you don't want to come, dude, it's like.
And then we have
that's
these
on
really
you.
generous,
that's fucking cool.
like
That's
we
fucking
have
cool.
people like Maria Dizzy or James Clary or Tina Satter who are like really generous people who have extremely successful careers, but that started or have the same values that we do, and they get paid to teach too, but like they're giving back basically.
Well,
They're
that's
giving
it
back,
because you
like-
guys have, and this is why. But you said it too. You guys have created something valuable in terms of what do people? Of course, there should be a place like this. What do people want when they move to New York?
Yeah.
You want to be a part of a community. You want to feel like you're on the ground, like you're like immersed in art. You want to feel like
not doing a
you're-
self-tape forever.
Exactly. You don't want to feel like, how inspiring is it to go to a fucking like casting director pay to play? It's like, who gives a fuck? And not to be, I don't give a shit. I'll say it. Like, who the fuck are these people? It's like, you want to be around your art. You want to be around artists. You want to be
It's
like,
about giving power, right? Meaning like, it's kind of like what you just said about your opportunity that you gave to share a gift that you might have that might be discovered. It's about like where do we put our time and our energy and our focus? And it's like, I'm not trying to say fuck you to all casting directors, but fuck you to all casting directors. But what I mean by that, we're in the all same boat. We're all just trying to make shit and survive. So why do we put so much pressure on these people, these gatekeepers, as opposed to like making things, building community, creating opportunities?
Because we don't get paid.
Just
because,
thinking about it,
hold up, we don't get paid for that.
But I was just thinking about it earlier today, and like I think about this all the time. Sort of like the blind, you see a lot of actors sort of like they're like that. Lisa Colon Zayas' speech was really sweet. That's nice. But like most of the other stuff, you see actors like when I saw this, I knew she would win. I'm like, why do you give a fuck about that person that you're never gonna fucking meet for the Emmys, which are like this nonsense, like gigantic waste of resources and time. Like
that nobody by the way, nobody even watches.
I didn't even know they were happening.
No, exactly.
That would also snuck up on me.
Literally did not.
But
know
I'm
they
just
were
like, why
happening.
don't you devote that same level of attention to people you actually know in your own life? I just don't get it. And we found about hundreds of people at this point who want to give that attention to each other. And I'm like, yeah, if you give that attention to each other and do the work, then it creates value.
Exactly.
Like,
Well, see,
Someone's got to start. Someone's got to start, man. It's like someone's got to sign off on you, and then everyone goes like, yes.
Yeah.
Once
Like
that
train
grows,
people.
Once that grows, once the people that are here
of
go
course.
like, this
Yeah,
is, you know what I mean? Then it starts to really like ultimately for any teacher, your resume is your students.
Yeah. No, it's fuck. And you know the reason why, because like, business for actors, which is like, what we kind of deal with. Like, reason why it's like always fucking tricky is because it's so cringy. Because it's like we don't talk about, we don't give a shit about headshots. We don't give a shit about any of that shit. We give a shit about the principles of how do you provide, how do you play 4D
How is
chess?
the work great?
Right. How is the work
How do you
great? And
grow
how are you
community?
positioning yourself in a way where you can provide value?
Right.
And like you guys
Right.
doing this, one thing that I'm sure is not lost on you, I'm not saying it's why you're doing it, but this is you're putting yourself here. You're creating you're because you are providing value to people, you're giving back. And people, that is what everybody wants something in this fucking business. Everybody wants something, we don't hear from people until they want something from us. And the fact that you guys are putting yourself, well, fuck it, we'll employ these people.
Yeah.
We'll fucking,
Well,
not
do
only
you
will
know-
we just I'm not taking a casting director class, I'll fucking employ a casting director.
Well, because do you know what's sexy about this? And I'm sorry to keep bringing it back to like business and capitalism, but
We love business and capital.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, because
they're both. You guys are Russians, right? Both
well,
of you? No,
for,
yeah,
for
both
most
Russians.
artists, you know, there's a real discordance, like in thinking about like any of these things. What you have done naturally, organically, you know, is, and we'll just take community. Any good brand grows a community around itself. I don't care if it's fucking Peloton or adult film. They grow a community where people are like, I'm part of that community. Artists, you know, this a lot of times it's hard for them to go like, what community am I growing around myself? You guys are doing it. You guys are doing it. And you're doing it in a way that is staying, again, true to your values and is creative and doesn't feel like typical actor cringe shit. But instead, it's like, no, it's based on our work and our voices and studying and giving opportunity and subsequently employing and working with that same community. And then people want to be part of that. And I'm sorry, I'm just underlining bold, italicizing it. Because for the artists who listen, our normal base too, who's listening, who have problems with this, I think that people can really take a page from this book to look in as a model.
We know it's like, for instance, someone like Ross Schenker.
Sure.
It's like he's a casting director.
Yeah.
He can obviously like choose to audition.
He gave me my
people to
first
take
movie.
his
He got me my
classes.
first movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
like, we're friends because we like Chekhov. Yes.
That's why I'm friends with him, because he's a fucking artist. Because I think I consider Ross like a true artist.
No,
Yes.
completely.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
He's a casting director. He's a director, a producer, and he's a certified Michael Chekhov teacher.
That's right.
So it's not often that
And a
it's
playwright.
just like, why Michael and a playwright. And it's just like, not everyone just like likes teaching Michael Chekhov on Anton Chekhov scenes. But like, that's my, I'm just like, it's pretty specific type of person that likes to do that. And that's my type of person. And, and it just so happens at the same time that it's like, so we create value by him, by bringing students to him.
Yes.
Everybody gets something out of it.
Yeah, it's mutually beneficial, and there's nothing wrong with that.
there's not.
You know, we're not Harvey Weinstein, like, grabbing whatever. You know, it's like there's nothing wrong with building mutually. But I am.
I feel like you bring it up a lot.
I do bring him up a lot. That's my way of saying I'm not like him. I just constantly say I'm not like him.
I hate him. I
The
really
more
hate
I
him.
say it,
No,
I hope he's
no
okay.
one-
I hope he's okay at the hospital. He was rushed to the hospital last week. Did you see
Really?
that? Yeah, he was.
oh,
No one was.
we're thinking of you.
Were.
We're thinking of you, Harvey.
Yeah,
Anywho,
exactly.
anywhomst. No, but what I like about what you're talking about too, it's like, it's just it's not, if you lead from a place of artistic integrity, and that's the thing. Both of you guys, I listen to your podcast a lot, and both of you guys have a lot of artistic integrity. And by that I mean, like, you have very strong artistic values. You're always thinking about the craft. You're always like trying to get into something deep. I know, look at everything you've built here. It's pretty fucking obvious. And it's like, and then there's nothing wrong to go, okay, this is something I will not compromise on.
Yeah.
But then how do I fucking not just go, and just like kind of like wait
yeah.
for life
Well,
to
sorry,
happen
not to just suck your dicks for an hour, but I just to lift this up too. Going back to your Shakespeare point, part of what I would argue is at the backbone of that is a point of view. And I would argue that for many artists, especially actors, they lack a point of view.
Well, because we live in a society that like
When
completely
we-
discourages a point of
Exactly.
view.
When we
Like,
talk about these programs and the business as is, it's sort of like, oh, I'm gonna wear my doctor's outfit to my doctor's audition, and I'm gonna say my line, as opposed to like, well, what is my process and who am I as an artist and what the fuck am I trying to create?
it's very interesting about like, I'm like, y'all say you like Willem Dafoe, but that person he's crazy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like,
He does.
I'm like, do you know what he was doing in the 80s and what I'm just like is a fucking crazy person. Like, that's and his career came out of that point of view.
Well, going back to the group theater, look at all the
they're
that
all
book,
crazy.
The Method, which you haven't read. You should read it.
You should also read this one. There's one called Real Life Drama, which is just about the group theater.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
It's fucking so entertaining.
Is it great?
It's amazing.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I have to do a hard pivot
Yeah, do it.
to Guskin.
Yeah.
I have to.
Oh, because
Because I
Ryan
read
loves
this book,
Guskin.
I mean, a long time ago now. I mean, and I because we were talking about how you love Guskin.
Yeah.
And I want to understand this. And the reason I want to understand this is because I read this book and I was like, what is going on? And our mentor, Gerald, he talks about Gerald in the book.
Okay.
But what am I missing? What am I missing in the values of his work?
Okay, so I learned about Guskin through Maria Dizia is my teacher, and she studied with him after he published the book, but before he got dementia.
How to quit acting, right?
How to stop acting.
How to stop acting.
And so she studied with him. So I've learned it from her.
Yeah.
And how to quit acting.
How to quit.
No, I forget.
That's my book.
He wrote Genderqueer, right?
Yeah. Genderqueer.
that children's book that's like bad.
Because,
yeah.
Wait, let me give you my really bullshit takeaway
yeah.
for a quick second. One section that completely, I was like, I can't read this anymore.
Uh-huh.
But I did finish reading it. And I want and say, Joshua, you're an idiot, and here's why. He had this whole breathing exercise thing.
Oh, about making James Gandolfini cry?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't read it anymore. Because it felt like it was based in nothing but creating a physical replacement.
Well, why is that a problem?
No, this is what I'm saying. I have not. It's been again a long time since I read this book, but I want to hear like what am I missing?
Well, I think what the Guskin helps you do. I mean, basically, it's just like the principle of is just in the book they do it silently. They don't speak in between the lines, but then he apparently changed it before he died. So you just say how you. There is no character, whatever. That we're worrying about that later. Should we choose to, whatever. But just to start with, like the first layer, you're just saying how you feel right now and putting that feeling into the line.
Yeah. So that you just get what? So you can easily like just so that you can just practice authenticity.
It's basically just being like Hamlet doesn't have to be melancholy. He can be whatever you're feeling right
you
now.
Talk about this.
So
I do. Yeah. I talk.
That's the basic. There's other levels to it, but like that's the basic idea of it. I think something like the breathing trick that I think he was just like being like, this is a thing to make you cry.
Yeah. Fair.
Which is real.
Which, I studied Strasbourg for a while too, and like now I can just cry because I have just like little physical triggers for crying.
Yeah.
But but what the Guskin has helped me do now, sometimes I see it's like my student Ethan was describing it like we're doing this play in the backyard, and he like really choked up the other night and was just really, because he has this whole speech about nature and whatever, and he was like, I just started crying because we were just all there. And I think that's mainly just what the Guskin helps you do is like you're really here right now, and that's like the creative springboard, not pretending somewhere.
Well, and I'm curious here, what's the dramatic improv like? What's the process around dramatic improv?
Dramatic improv is a lie, in the sense that it's not a dramatic improv class. I truly don't care about the technique of dramatic improv. For a dramatic improv to be engaging, you need to go after something for a scene. Great, it's done. Class is taught.
Yeah.
It's about how do you connect to circumstances. What is your acting process to connect to circumstances?
Yeah.
I have a way to work, but you can do anything.
Right.
But there are circumstances to be connected to. There are certain things that we need to believe, or we're not watching that scene, we're watching something else.
Give an example. I keep going.
Okay, like the improv that I gave last week was like, you dated before the pandemic, you broke up, one of you was very, very invested in the other. One of you is an actor, the other's a director. The director just got a big break at an off-Broadway theater. They've been directing bullshit Brooklyn underground theater where no one gets any money. The actor shut up. The actor has become successful. The producers offered the actor a role in the play.
Yeah.
The director has since moved on. The actors always thought that they would be able to get the director whenever they wanted. The actor has just seen the director leave the after party with another actor from the show.
Wow.
The scene is the next day. The director's giving them notes after preview.
Yeah, and so it's like you give them that, and that's like a lot of circumstance, which is probably part of it, because that's literally like what life
he gives
is
like highly detailed.
It's
well, here's the
highly
thing.
detailed,
Here's the thing.
tell 'em
It
about
is.
that.
I just gave a lot of details.
Which is good.
But the thing is, in the sensory class, we'd work on it sensorily. So realistically, what's happening? You have a job you really care about. You have a person you really love who you have an intense physical connection with.
Yeah.
You have and you have the fear of losing the job and needing to be professional. That's also would be in the circumstance.
Yeah.
And you have this other person that you cheated, or not cheated, but you left with. For the actor, you have someone who the relationship ended, but you still really deeply love. You have a play that you didn't need to do, but you're doing it to spend time with this person, the director. And you have seeing this person that you love leave with another person right in front of you.
Yeah.
Boom, there's a scene.
It's fucking. Well, you know what's interesting about this, because, I think you're a fan of Actor in the Target too.
Oh, I
think.
love it.
Well, that changed my, and Joshua
Yeah.
has heard me talk about it ad nauseum, but like that changed my whole life because
Yeah, it's probably the best book on acting.
I think.
Well, it reminds me of Guskin
Yeah.
in terms of it. That's why. I
Well,
say,
it's
like, this
well,
is your
it's.
shit.
I think it's the best book on acting for me because I actually I love. There's this book called Finding Your Zone, which is a sports psychology book. So like those two together for me is like the fucking like chocolate and peanut butter in a fucking Reese's cup. It's like it's such a good kind of fat fuck. But it's like that's like the combo, because what I appreciate about the Declan approach too is like it gets me externally focused so I can find flow. And it's like there's so much.
He's like, why don't you just see?
Why don't exactly?
It's
Why don't
just
you
like-
just see the thing? And it's like for me, it's like what is. And I was talking to somebody. It's like it is not foundational in a lot of ways. Like it is kind of an advanced book because it's like because first off, you read it, it's all fucking half of it's just him talking about random shit.
That's just the translation to some extent, right?
But he's English, so he wrote the English
Why do I
version.
find it such it was a hard read for me.
Well, it's all over the place. It's like
Yeah.
his fucking musings.
Is
but
the
like,
actor in the space? Have you read the actor in the spaceship?
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, it's fucking great.
I want. Is that any different?
It's more.
No, it's a little bit
more direct.
It's more direct,
concise.
and
more
it's like
concise.
because what opened me up about that too is like because I remember I was listening to a podcast and this got me really thinking. It was I forgot what one you're like I feel like I'm not becoming my characters anymore. There was like a whole conversation
and
you
I was
guys
like-
had.
I was like, you're stupid.
Yeah, well, you kind of were like that, but I thought it was really interesting because like something that has and look I think I can be a transformational actor in a lot of ways. I think that I've done a lot of shows where I've had to play like 50 people and fucking whatever, and it's like but what's crazy to me about why I'm like kind of over the Western way, I guess, is because it's such a psychoanalyst such a psychoanalyst approach where it's like let's see let's see into our characters and let's understand them, and so then let's present
that.
or no I would say it's like then let's present our essays on the characters.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And
No,
it's
yeah.
like
Intellectual
Okay, that's my new.
exercise.
That's my
It's
new,
like,
I'm
oh,
you're essaying the role.
and it's like because I think that Hamlet's like this is who Hamlet is, so then let me make choices that
The
show
melancholy
that
prince,
and it's like and why does he feel that way? And it's like what I appreciate about Declan, and I know but we gotta get into it more one day because it's like what do they see? And like the big thing that was a mind fuck for me was like as an actor, like the big change I feel like I've gone under in the past like year is my mental model used to be the character. So the mental model in my head used to be if I was playing, fucking, in Arcadia, if I was playing fucking Valentine Coverley, it's like, okay, this is who Valentine is. And now me as the actor, I'm entering the space with a mental model in my head. And then now I'm just trying to be that mental model. But that's not his mental model.
No.
That's not how he's walking around. He has a mental model in his head of who he is trying to be and who he's and what Declan always does, which I love the deck is who he's not trying to be too.
No, oh my god.
So-
Like the double bind. is,
It's
like, my
fucking and so
favorite.
as opposed to me trying to live up to this idea of who the guy is, who does he think he is, and how is he lying and acting?
Yeah, I really
and
like how
presenting
like
himself.
every line can be about what you don't want it to be about.
Yeah,
Like that's so
Yeah,
much
it's
more
fucking weird.
activating than trying to mean the line.
But where are you at with character stuff?
There's
right
also
now?
the word that what you just said. I'm gonna answer that, but what you just made me think of. Sometimes the performance you're giving isn't the performance that's being received, but it doesn't make the performance any worse.
exactly.
So, but I will say this: like I was listening to American History X. Who was it? Who was it?
Edward Norton.
Yes, thank you. Edward Norton was talking about doing American History X. He was like, I was trying, like as a young man doing this role, it's like, I want it to be this. I want it to be tough in this way. I want it to be the man. I want it to, and I thought that's why the performance worked. Whatever years later, he goes back and watches it. And he goes, the performance worked because I was a young man trying to be that man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That because that's who the guy is trying to
Yeah.
be, and it's like, and so what I also like, it gives you permission to not, which I think is, I consider myself a very honest performer, but it also gives you permission to not be honest.
Yeah.
Because people aren't honest.
Yeah.
People lie all the time.
Yeah.
We're acting right now. We're all fucking presenting versions of ourselves to each other. We're fucking, all the time. So what I love about this idea is like, it gives you permission, and it's okay if something is not completely honest in a moment. I think that finding honesty as a foundational just given, being able to access that is, I mean, it's undeniable. It's incredibly important to have the confidence to tell the truth on stage. But it's like, but then what's nice is what that book kind of gave me permission to let go of is be like, oh, it's okay because my character is fucking lying too.
Yeah.
Like he's acting. It's like what Brando said. Acting is lying, and like everybody's lying, not in a bad way, but we all have fucking ideas of what we're trying to be and what we're not trying to be.
Hey, human being. Do you think you might have some generational trauma? Do you think maybe your families have some secrets that they've kept? Yeah, me too. Because we're human. And what better way to reflect on that than through art, right? And the world premiere play of Tin Church, that has been written and directed by the marvelous Robin Parrish, is currently debuting here in New York, being presented by Off the Wall Productions and presented at the Chain Theater. Tin Church is an unsettling Southern Gothic exploration of that generational trauma and the secrets families keep. It is playing October 23rd through November 23rd at the Chain Theater in New York City on 36th Street, and tickets can be purchased at InsideOffTheWall.com. That's InsideOffTheWall.com. But don't just buy them at full price, because you know what, Creative Risk listeners, you get to use code TA24 for 50% off. I'm seeing the show super soon. I'm really stoked, and you should too. InsideOffTheWall.com, Tin Church, October 23rd through November 23rd.
Yeah. The issue is sometimes, like, I think sometimes character calls for things that you, or at least points to things that your body shuts down. That your body will not allow you to access. For example, like if someone's cast as, I don't know, like a bad boy, dangerous ladies man guy.
Yeah.
There's people who have like tremendous insecurities about those specific things.
Yeah.
It's just going like, well, maybe he has insecurity about those things. Fine, okay, but we still have to believe you as the character.
Yeah.
So then these are real like acting problems that need to be addressed. There's also the world, for me, what was the most exciting things about acting was like, there are things that I lived for the first time in my acting before I ever lived them in my life.
Yeah, 100%.
And that was incredibly freeing for me.
Yeah,
the possibility
100%.
that like, sometimes you have to step into it and you have to give yourself permission to fucking do it.
Yeah. Right.
And my body sometimes began to believe it as a possibility for me.
And it makes me think about the audience too, because sometimes what I work with Bedlam a lot, which is like, they're fucking insane, but it's like, we're always like, what we always do during rehearsals, we're always like pointing middle fingers at the audience, like just reminding ourselves that we don't give a fuck about them, which I think is what makes it exciting. And because in Shakespeare especially, I think one of the biggest problems in Shakespeare, why it's so bad, is because
so
I hope the
fucking bad.
audience understands what I'm saying.
Yes.
And it's like, it's like you're like, and I think there's a time and place for everything. Like how kind of I approach things is like, I know we're way off script, whatever. Who cares?
No, I write shit down so I don't forget it.
But it's like,
Poppers destroyed my brain cells years ago. No memory.
Same.
but it's like, it's like I like to think, because it's there, it's undeniable. When you get a fucking script and you're like, how am I going to do it? Right? That kind of those actors are like, what do I want to say? Or like, what's interesting to me? And like, blah, 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 blah. And like, oh, what is everybody? I now do that. I now like go, what does everybody not get about this fucking guy? Because I take a very confrontational approach, because then why else would I do it?
Yeah.
there's no point in me to play Hamlet if it's been done right. So I literally go, what is everybody wrong about? Like I take that approach. But then the key is in performance, which you guys are talking about too. Like with like you're talking about like that dude out in the fucking, your backyard and experiencing like that's not for game day. It's like that's not for game day. It's like game day has its own fucking unique stimuli. It's like it has its own unique stimuli. And if you're trying to, and I'm not saying that we're talking about this, but this has always been my problem as an actor, is if I'm trying to present my agenda to the audience, which is like, I hope they get I'm sad. I hope they understand I'm really heartbroken right now. I hope if I'm, then I'm not in game. I'm not playing the game. I'm not playing the fucking game. I'm not here, and so it's like.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's just like, I'm like, it's just like some words on a page. Like no one said it had to be any way. And it's just like not even the writer said that. Because
and the writer's not
writer
fucking doing it.
But here's the
I don't give a fuck
right?
about the writers.
Mike and I
sometimes.
actually just did our first play together. I don't know how many months ago.
Yeah.
And so we were having a lot of these conversations at the process because the way that this director works is, he involves the actors in the. Oh, so we're getting arrested?
I think they're spraying stuff again.
Oh, for the mosquitoes?
Maybe. Is someone getting arrested? My neighbors are always getting
Come up with your hands up.
Damn.
Joshua. We all know what that's about. Can you grab my glasses right there? No, dude. They're fucking right there.
No, so what I was saying was, so what was this your? No, this one's on. No, mine's dented.
Mine's dented.
No, but one of the conversations we were having was this guy, was like very inclusive of like with actors of like almost like they're there to direct the play too. So what we want the audience to experience,
right. And he would always direct like that. He'd always be like, so they got to get this from them.
Exactly.
And get very
and we would get into arguments because that is a little like I can
well,
translate.
you're a director.
I can translate. Okay, I hear what he's saying. How does this relate to me? And Mike, I get it. I love it. It's why you were great in the play. Is like sort of like fuck that. I'm not going to think about that. But so then the conversations we would have was, well, how do we marry those two things? How do we take circumstances? For example, you were like fuck circumstances. How do we take circumstances,
I was like, fuck circumstances.
And go okay with the same idea to marry the two because I think they're both valuable.
Of course,
even if you don't need to be focusing on. Oh yeah, what did Joe say he wanted me?
Well,
to
there's no
do?
fucking right. The problem is with institutions too that I have a lot of issue with is that like that there's a right way to do anything.
Yeah, of course.
That bothers me a lot. Like I don't give a fuck. I don't personally. Listen, we went to fucking conservatory. We spent hundreds and hundreds of hours learning about all these people, and it's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I just don't give a fuck anymore. It's like because. It's the same thing with like, and I'm not saying that it's not valuable. As long as I don't care if you like walk on stage and go blue and like you start crying, or I don't give a fuck what you do. But like, and this is why, sorry, I'm on a really weird ramble now.
I love it.
But like, I believe in a process scorecard. This is something that now I'm all about because there's this thing in sports psychology where it's like, okay, like, and talk about objective. It's like, did you make the points? As you could tell, I'm not a sportsman. But, did you make the points or did you fucking win the game? There's an objective win-lose. But then on the side, you have to have a process scorecard, which is
what's it based on?
Well,
Like
my 3 questions that I ask after every show are: was it fun? Was it easy? Was it free? Those are the only 3. Not did I get to that moment. Not did I get a laugh.
Yeah.
Not did I feel for me, not helpful. Not did I feel an emotion. Not did it whatever. It's like, was it fun? Was it easy? Was it free? Because in performance, that's really and I always say, did I enter the space with a very positive mindset? Even if I'm doing a very dramatic scene, I always enter a space like in a very, very positive mindset so that I feel like just free and grounded. And like that's my process scorecard. And I think it's so important for actors to have their own process. I don't want to bringing this up. Whatever. Gay.
No,
Well, but it keeps your performance about like your own experience versus the audience's, because you're looking for process and not results.
Right. Exactly.
Like I think ultimately what's wild is that the audience shows up to be taken on the ride of your experience. And if you give a single fuck about how they're taking your experience, it's
For
not what
sure.
they came for.
for sure.
That's great.
For sure.
Well, it's like the Invisible Actor, which is like that's one of my favorite books. Have you guys ever read Invisible Actor? It's Yoshi Oida. So like, that's such a good book. You know, he's from like he was like one of Peter Brook's like main collaborators, and he was like this Japanese dude who was like trained to know. He has that famous quote, which is the good actor points at the moon, and you say, and the audience goes, look at him, look at the tears in his eyes, look at the way he's holding his hand. Look at just perfect. And the great actor points at the moon, and you don't see the actor, you see the moon.
Yeah.
That's that quote.
Well,
and
that's like what Donnellan is like.
Yes.
The idea of like release. You're
Exactly.
actually like becoming not.
yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean? Like you're like
100%.
it's like letting go of self.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I always say to students, I'm like, don't plan your performance, plan their performance. And it's like plan your partner's performance.
Yeah, and then you will be disappointed, and that will create life.
Exactly. And then you'll be surprised, and like, but that's what we do in life. In life, we walk into situations and we project on people.
Yeah.
And we have an assumption of how they're going to act, and that's life is full of misunderstandings and miscommunication. And so like it's not just about like not listen, because we've learned in Meisner listening is like.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
It's like complete.
You're judging
but
me,
that's
I'm
not
judging you.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, I always say to students, like,
Oh
fucking,
man, so many director, teacher. I'm like, hey, you don't have to look at him.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
no.
Also, people don't do that.
No, they don't
People
do that.
don't do that. They literally do not, which is hysterical.
And people listen through their own filter.
Yeah, of
and
course.
it's like blah
Of
blah,
course.
and yeah, I think you're right. It's like I was talking about Yoshida because he says this thing where it's like even if you're grieving in a scene, which I think is like if your child dies, you must take joy in it, because when an actor is experiencing joy, and I'm not saying like literal, but it's like it lets people in.
Well, because
It's like, so,
Declan would say like, his grief is your joy, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucking true. He does
Like
say that's
he's
good.
like the problem for the character is the gift for the actor.
Right, exactly.
Right.
exactly. Don't run away from it.
So what is
Okay,
actor training? Well, I just because
Okay.
we're talking about it. Okay.
Yeah, please.
What is the main problem with actor training as you see it? The actor, the craft. What do you see? We kind of talked about like this whole like every
Yeah, I
time
mean, I think like everything is on this like I think most TV and film and now plays are. Bro, can you do me a favor? Can you go jiggle the toilet thing up? Because it's just
Gonna drive you nuts.
yeah, it's gonna drive me insane. Or close the door or something.
It's wild.
I think most TV and film and now plays, because they're all written like TV shows.
Yeah.
Everyone does this like underplaying monotone thing. That's
Yeah.
like
We're like nothing's happening.
nothing's happening.
Nothing's
And,
happening.
like, and it just
I
completely
know.
it just completely zaps all personality.
But it's truthful, isn't it?
Well, this is what we talk about this all the time, because it's like, my favorite actor ever was Jenna Rollins, and like
Oh, so
we
good.
talk about like her sense of
She just passed
theatricality,
away, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like her sense of theatricality and her, it's very, very real, and it's very, you really are taken
Sure.
by it, but it's she's she's weird, like, but I'm just like, but Meryl fucking Streep is making all faces and shit and doing all this
Right.
shit too, just
Right.
it's like, but it's just like, she has these very idiosyncratic kind of like, she's always like kind of talking like a gangster,
Yeah,
whatever, and I'm just like, that's like, everyone is all like, David does accents all the time and does what, it's just like everyone is always quoting things, doing voices, making gestures, making faces, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, in TV,
Right.
no one's
human.
No one moves quickly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, no one moves their face. Like, I don't get it. Like,
It doesn't really play in a close-up.
Yeah.
It doesn't really play in a close-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And maybe this relates to adult film. I mean, that's kind of, they are different forms of art.
Yeah. Yes.
that tell different stories depending on how they're used. Meaning, and there is
but why does everything have to be?
Not
I'm
everything
not
does.
saying some.
Great
It doesn't
point.
have.
This is why
value
style is
sometimes.
deadly for me.
Yeah.
Style is deadly.
Well, that's all style. It's not.
It's
really
all
how people, it's not
style,
how
exactly.
people are.
Because
Like,
style now, again,
Yeah.
for what is not helpful for me, I like to get it out of the way early in the process just to think about it because we all go there. How I'm going to play it is not helpful for me. How I'm going to play something for me is not a helpful light because, again, that's all the spotlights are on me and self-generation. And so that's why it's not. So style for me, which is what I think, it's a very specific contemporary style. That's truth that we've been trained to see as truthful. It's not helpful because, again, now I'm thinking about how I'm going to do something as opposed to like.
No, it's like playing for genre or something.
Yeah, like I don't do exactly like you can't play that. You can't play an idea of a performance. That's literally what representational theater is. It's like I'm not playing anything actually going on. I'm playing an idea of the way it's done, which is like that, like literally like stab me.
I think but to answer the question about the actor training, I'll say 3 things. I think what's wrong, I don't know, what's missing or something like that. Fuck, what's the phrase?
Severely lacking.
Poppers.
I like that. No, I say severely lacking. Go ahead, be
Yeah,
aggressive.
Anyone got some? Oh wait, I have some in that
poppers,
drawer.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I believe it.
Whip them out,
I
girl.
believe
I've
it.
got some in the freezer. Everything.
Let's get
Oh, he
loose.
doesn't really store them. That's right.
Poppers night at adult film.
So all right. So what's missing? What's missing is I'll say I'm literally forgetting them. Well, first off, for some reason, what's missing in actor training is like, why is everything just about putting up a scene? I don't understand. No one knows how to approach anything or do anything. It's like all these classes are literally just like they're literally just scene critiques,
Right.
and someone then
Sure.
and they're these anesthetized, like, I used to go to scene study classes or whatever, and it's just like I might spend 6 weeks with people, and I like in a 10-person, 12-person class or something, and there were like some people I didn't like get to talk to during that time. So everyone's in and out. There's no why I structure my classes for
Lacking
4 months,
community.
or why these students have been fucking taking classes together for 2 years is because you fucking see you're in a conversation. And like your work changes if you see other people's work changing and growing with you and whatever. And so these studios don't really have that, from what I saw. And the scene critiques, I'm just like, it's just like goes in one ear and out the other. It's just as if it's a director giving you some adjustments, and then people flail and hit an adjustment or not. There's no discussion about like what you're I don't even like, I mean, I call my class a process class. I don't even like that word either, but just like an approach. I'm just like, how do you approach anything or work at all?
Otherwise, to get into the big point that you were underlining, you're simply always playing at a result.
Totally.
And
You're simply always playing at getting it up. And
So that's one.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The second thing is, and like, I kind of, it's even a lot of people who have a lot of experience or things like that, like with the Seagull, I had to recondition a lot of people to just like talk as themselves.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. I'm just like, so I don't understand. Your body's here on rent or something? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Where are you?
Yeah.
Like, which kind of goes to your idea, but I think and I totally did too. It's just this sort of like this obsession, worship of the character or whatever, or somehow getting possessed by the character or something like that. And I'm like, I think the character grows out of you. Like, so that's the second thing. And then the third thing. Oh, yeah, like, I'm just like, when I direct, people like kind of hate me for it, but I'm like, if there's 10 people in this cat, I'm just like, I am the director, I'm 1/10 of this fucking thing. Yeah. You better fucking, like, we're collaborate. Like, I'm just your director.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
we're collaborating.
Why
on
would people
this.
hate that?
That's
Because
the
they're never
best.
asked to do it and they don't know how. Because it's such a self-forward thing, whereas in these places you're like, come and serve the director, serve the play, serve the, don't not too much of your, you can't really cut
Sure.
loose or anything, and like show. So it's like, how are you supposed to?
Then it's like, why the fuck did you cast me, bro? It's like,
I know.
it's like, that's what I don't. That's why I'm like, the right. It's like, yes, of course, I consider in the very beginning, but at the end of the day, freedom is of the
Yeah, it's you.
ultimate importance. Yeah, it's like.
When we ran through the camps, a smile on your face.
Hey guys, I want you to experience a groundbreaking new musical this season if you are in New York City. Distant Thunder is now lighting up off-Broadway at the ART New York theaters. This is a really powerful production. It's the first mainstream indigenous musical to premiere in New York, and it tells a story of a young attorney reconnecting to his Blackfeet heritage, blending contemporary storytelling with indigenous rhythms, song, and dance. The show's creative force includes Tony nominee Lynn Taylor Corbett, who directs and choreographs, together with her son, Sean Taylor Corbett, who's one of my dearest friends, one of the nicest guys in fucking show business, really, who co-wrote the book, music, and lyrics to this show and also stars in it. The choreography beautifully merges indigenous dance with theater, and this cast brings a story to life with soul-stirring songs and authentic connection. Performances run through October 27th in New York City at the ART New York theaters. Visit www.amasmusical.org, that's AMAS musical.org, to get your tickets today to Distant Thunder. It runs till October 27th. You guys have got to see it. It's fucking awesome. Now I'm curious because David, because you really I understand your journey. You were we've all have institutional training. I would say the three of us.
Yeah.
And you're a dude who moved here to the city and you cobbled together a training for yourself, very forward-footedly, which is fucking dope. I'm curious, from your perspective, what's missing in the acting today? What's missing for you?
In the acting that we see on TV, or the actors that I see around, or
The actor, both, all of the above, both.
Well, one, I think there's a lot of good actors. I think there's a lot of really good actors. And some of them, okay, I think my mind goes to ideas in text. Actors read text and they get an idea of, this is the thing where I feel this. Therefore, this paragraph is this.
Yeah.
Writers write ideas. If you cannot see the idea, if you cannot break down scripts into ideas, then we're getting just a jumbled mess of feeling.
Sure.
And we're not. You're robbing yourself the opportunity of play nuance, play different things, play different actions, You're just robbing yourself of the opportunity. When you have an idea, or if you were to describe your day to day,
Yeah.
every time you'd have a new thought, you would take a breath in.
Yeah.
And thought would come to you.
Yeah.
Thoughts end down. You don't know what's coming afterwards.
Right.
We love to just run text. It's not real.
It's disgusting. That's we had a whole conversation about this. That's always the worst. Well, that's, again, I'm sorry I keep bringing up Shakespeare. That's the number one problem with Shakespeare is people. It's exactly what you're saying. It's like broad strokes.
Yeah, they're not talking about. I'm like, you don't need to do that. The idea of the play is strong enough. Just dare to communicate the idea of the
But
play.
they don't see it.
Like,
They don't see the ideas because they're
Yeah.
not. And I can't, I also, knowing this, have to remind myself
because the ideas are too mature for people.
But I'm sorry, but we're helped by periods. You know what periods are for?
Yeah.
To end an idea.
Have
It's
sure.
worth thinking about.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
It's worth considering.
Yeah.
It's worth considering. I don't know what I'm going to say now. I'm going to take a breath in. We'll see what comes.
Yeah.
But it also, I think that what drives me absolutely bananas is when people are on stage not going for anything.
Yeah.
There has to be a reason you're in the scene.
Yeah.
This is where you and I argued. Because meaning, this is what I mean about the mixing of the values of something like the
Stanislavski, or
Yes, and Stanislavski, no, quite literally. Because I think there is a world where you can go, I can still keep this, I can still want something and still play by the rules of what you're talking about in terms
No,
of
I listen. You have to leave your pound of flesh. There's nothing worse than seeing people up there who are not leaving a pound of flesh.
Oh my God. No, I had this screaming rant to my students. We went and saw this play, and I was like,
Just say it, I'll bleep it out.
The fucking.
Oh
thing.
yeah, they're fucking.
Whatever the fuck. And I was just like, I'm in my basement cobbling a company together, and you get this opportunity, and you didn't go tell the fucking story of your life
Yeah.
today, right now.
Yes.
You didn't tell the story of your life.
Yeah, great
like, I
point.
can't believe it. Like, so that's
Yeah.
pound of flesh.
Well,
yeah.
because and whether it's by like going, and it's like no, it's like whether it's by going after something, whatever makes someone be fucking alive on
Yeah.
stage, like whatever makes me go like, that person's invested. I don't know. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Like just engagement and investment,
Yeah,
and like
for sure. But and I also think that like, because I hear what you're saying, like, but my belief is just like you may not consciously know what you want, but your body does. Look at me. Look how fucking I'm leaning in. I want you guys to hear me, or at the very least, I want you to think I'm important or interesting or Lord knows what. I didn't write down my intention before we started this, but my body knows it.
No, I've heard like you make that point for another podcast, and I like that. Like I like that, and it's like, no, it's funny. Like now that we're talking about like some of this, it's like for me, because I think I'm a very active performer in a lot of ways, and it's like for me, what's been helpful, and it's like I said, it's however it fucking works. That's why I think process scorecard is important, because if I have to go up there and it literally it's like just squeeze my dick before I go on, whatever, like process, it's like what at the end of the day looks like good acting.
Although I
to
like
me.
approach. I like that word.
Yeah,
I've watched a lot of
approach.
them.
Yes, approach is good.
Something.
But it's like, for me, it's like what's helpful about Declan Donnellan is for me personally, and I think I couldn't do this if I did not have the learning of
No,
objective
if you
and like
didn't
intention.
do maybe the opposite first.
And it's like, because like what's helpful for me is like when I walk on stage now, the thing I always tell myself before I go on stage, like when I'm always like, I'm always like, I don't have to do anything. Everybody's doing shit to me. I have to do nothing. Everybody's doing shit to me all the time. They're out there. They're always going to be doing shit to me. They're always doing shit to me. So I don't have to even fucking worry about it. I'm like, and for me, that's freeing. Like it's freeing now for some people. Like I don't think that's
Well,
freeing
that's
for
what
you.
you and I have because what I think sometimes gets lost in it is what am I doing? Now it's not about I mean what am I doing? Like what am I even doing here? Even if but listen, I appreciate the value of allowing yourself to be affected and not worrying about, how I'm coming across in order to reach them. But at the same time, I can still be affected while I want you to give me $100.
Well, this is
or
where it
whatever
gets
the
trippy
fuck,
with Declan.
you know?
This is what I fuck around with now. It's
I mean, maybe what you're like. I feel like a smart, intuitive actor, you did many layers before you went on stage and said, "I'm not." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like.
No, I do a
No,
lot
I
of
know
book
you
work.
faggot,
And it's
but
a
I
tool.
sorry, I should.
And it's
So it's like when maybe a person who this is their first whatever shouldn't do that, but like you go there and you are doing active, you're probably
whether
more
you realize
active.
it or
Yes,
not.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you were, and remember we had this.
But when I do book work now, though, but I think it's
I
intuitive.
I think Ryan's
I always go.
because you're active. You're going after
Of course,
shit.
I'm
But also
active.
it's like, like that's just what
Everything
you're
about you is
interested in
active.
right now.
Huh?
Everything about you is active.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
very
also
active.
just like it's like
moving.
it's a tool. Like I
Look at me.
sometimes go to theater and I like, bro, these scenes are like 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
I'm not watching 45 minutes long of you literally not you, but in general of you not trying to do anything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's offensive.
it is. I agree with you. It's
Yeah.
pretentious.
What do you expect me to exactly to basically masturbate on stage doing nothing?
Yeah.
I'm interesting enough. I
no.
can just live and watch. Period.
Yeah, no, we're at time. What's
Well,
up?
I don't
You
want to
gotta
blue
go.
ball us. It's Audacity's fault that I have to get back to this.
Well, because we took too long. setting
Yeah,
up.
it's Audacity's
All right.
fault.
Well,
But what he'll make I want to. I mean, someone else can wrap up too. But I want to say something about what I value again about so much of what we're talking about and what you guys are doing. I'll go macro and say I think again part of the big problem with actors, but artists in general is that they have this inability to form their own opinion.
Well, that's autonomy.
Yes,
I'm just like,
yes.
I'm just like, just like last night. I was like doing a little like Stella style script analysis. I do script analysis so I can teach my students how they should talk to themselves about script analysis.
yeah.
And we're talking about Streetcar, and this goes into the ideas too. And I said something like, we were talking about like, well, is Stanley afraid, or is he just really like confident in everything? And I was just like, Blanche has the key to Stella's heart, and Stanley can't ever get to that part of her heart, and that's what propels him through the whole play. Is this woman?
that's pretty good.
So I'm saying that's what I'm just like. If you like art, you need to like have poetic ideas like that. Like I'm just like
artistic.
I'm just like, you can't be like, why does he say that?
Right, exactly.
LOL.
I'm like the play is not, and that's what I'm just saying about
People
like,
are
the loss of
idiots.
things.
I'm
I'm just
sorry.
like, Streetcar Named Desire and plays they're not realism. They're like they're not like life. They're poetic.
Especially plays.
Well,
like
this
that.
is where
of
Young.
course,
I'm that's why I'm kind of like, there's something with Young. There's something there.
Me too.
It's
Yeah.
like there's something there because it's like whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. He's gonna beat me later.
No, I'm a big
Yeah, because like
Youngian, too.
people think random, weird, stupid shit, and it's like it makes sense to them. Anyway, whatever. What are you gonna say?
No, all I was
Continue
saying
your
was
little
anyway,
spiel.
the I'm
autonomy.
just like, if you're like trying
Yes.
to go after something like this, you better be able to like think this way.
Yeah.
Like, and it's
for
for you.
yourself.
I'm just like, it's your own, like that sentence or idea of that thing like moves me, and that's what I want to tell of the story of my life if I were to do that play or whatever. And like, I'm like, well, you better like be like bursting with shit like this, or I don't know why how this is gonna work.
Here's my. Oh, sorry, please. Yeah, you go.
Autonomy.
You go. Yeah.
Acting is hard, man. And the thing is, I feel like sometimes we're presented this world where like everyone's an actor. All you got to do is show up and be yourself. But thinking deep is learned, and it's intuitive, and it's a lot of things. And a lot of things have to align.
Yeah.
And you got to keep fucking, and some of it comes naturally for people, and for people like me, it doesn't. And we fucking mine, and we mine, and we mine, and we mine. And then people say that, like, anyone can be an actor. That's true, but good luck.
right.
It takes a lot of
Right,
fucking
everyone
work.
to do the
No,
work.
no,
And
no,
not
no.
everybody
that's-
deserves to be paid. I'm sorry, but not everybody deserves to be paid for
If they're
their
not willing to
acting.
put in the work, per your point, because it is hard.
And
It
it's
is
very hard for an audience to like believe that something's happening, or
For
at least
real.
some version of that.
No,
Yeah.
that's
It's a
true.
hard thing to ask for.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, because one thing
Actually,
here.
I remember, because Pendleton on your podcast was talking about this. The first play I ever did, professional play, was with Aaron Posner, who
Amazing.
Pendleton did, I think, Life Sucks with it.
Yeah.
And Posner said to me early on in the process, he was like, there's nothing more exciting than watching someone have a genuine surprise on stage.
Oh
And
yeah,
he goes,
that's the
Joshua,
best.
let yourself be surprised. And I had just left school. It's never left me, because then the challenge is, well, what does that mean to allow myself to be in a space where I have a relationship enough with the circumstances, but I'm also able to live them again for the first time in whatever my approach might be, that allows myself to be surprised. And that's hard fucking work.
And
That's not easy.
I'll wrap it up, because this is why I have a lot of admiration for both of you guys and a lot of respect for both of you guys, is because you have created a space, a community where this is your life.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
fucking
Exactly.
cool.
It
That's
is cool.
fucking that
It
is
is cool.
fucking
It is
and if
cool.
people watching don't take inspiration from
listening.
that, then they can suck my
Well,
balls.
that's what I was trying to get at, was like what's great is, and I think
you guys are doing
no
a fucking
bullshit,
film
truly
festival right
inspirational.
now. It's like
Yeah, well,
you're
okay, yeah.
doing all this crazy shit. It's like you guys have created like a paradise, artist paradise for yourselves.
My company and I live it's the whole brownstone is ours, and we all live here, and we make plays.
When is this
here.
coming out? When is your festival?
It's now.
Okay, so this will come out
This is wild.
After.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but they'll be doing something. You guys are always
Yeah, we're
doing
doing
shit.
something, yeah.
Adultfilm.nyc.
NYC.
Yeah.
Comfort food performances. You're gonna play along with us, even though. And I'll start. And it's gonna be really basic, and that's okay because it's still really good.
What?
So I was curious. So my partner, we love watching horror films,
Yes.
and so I was really curious about The Deliverance, which is the
Yeah.
new lead. It's a really basic movie, but I'm sorry, Glenn Close is giving a beautiful performance in this film. It is total. Actually, I don't think it's a piece of shit horror film. I don't. I mean, yes, it's structurally exactly what you'd expect from like a Netflix horror film, but Glenn Close is giving a really great performance in that film.
You know, Tim Walls is just
Shut
really
the fuck
giving
up.
a great comfort. Just to talk about a performance. I'm just joking. Tim Dillon calls him Fuddle Cake Dad.
Oh my God,
That's
I love Tim Dillon.
I love Tim Dillon. But no, I'm just joking. I think for me, you know, balls. I never planned these.
Never.
Nah,
It usually comes
fucking.
back to Sylvester Stallone.
It's always Sylvester
or-
Stallone, or it's like, yeah, it's something stupid. Nick Cage a lot. I don't know. Okay, fuck. Okay, you know, all right. So I watched The Roaring Twenties again recently. This is a movie with James Cagney.
Right.
James Cagney.
Yeah.
I think you said this one.
God fucking
No, you can
damn
say it again. Say it again. It's okay. I'll
Whatever.
be a double
Okay, so James Cagney, dude.
in this movie.
I mean, what a fucking actor, dude.
Yeah,
like
he's
talk about
amazing.
like way ahead. Like you
Yo,
watch
way
it,
ahead.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
way ahead.
on it, and like I'm like so tough.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think I've said James Cagney, Yankee Doodle Dandy.
No, you
If
said the
people
Roaring
are
Twenties because
not
we were talking about it the other
fucking
day. But it's
butt-
okay, bitch. You can say it again.
Okay, so but if you ever want like a James Cagney double feature day, fucking
Yankee Doodle.
Roaring Twenties, Yankee Doodle Dandy,
100%.
Okay.
right back to forth. He's one of the best actors who's ever been on camera. Period. Point blank. The end. Roaring Twenties though, great performance. Okay,
Girls.
Cool.
yeah.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I mean, Jenna Rollins was my favorite
I love
actress of
that.
all time, and I generally rewatch the Cassavetes movies like once a year,
Saw that
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, and but I just rewatch. You know, I like introducing people to them. And my housemate Stevie, right after Jenna died, she came up and we watched opening night again,
Oh,
and
what a movie.
I've probably seen it like 10 or 12 times, but yeah, I think it's my favorite. I think it's the greatest acting performance of all time, and I
Woman
love
under
it.
the
I love
influence.
watching-
Her and
yeah.
woman under the influence too. I mean, she has always just been so fucking underrated. Like,
Yeah, I love
how is
that.
she not?
Jenna
I don't know.
Rollins.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome.
Great.
Okay, I have two. I just saw His Three Daughters.
Oh, I want to
History
watch
Daughters.
that.
It was
I really
Great.
I love Carrie Coon.
Carrie Coon, man.
Oh, His Three Daughters.
His
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
Daughters.
yeah.
Yeah, Carrie Coon is like just.
She's
Carrie Coon
A
is a
marvelous,
modern.
marvelous
She's a
woman.
modern actor like those actors.
Yeah,
in my
yeah, yeah.
opinion.
She's fucking
She's
good.
amazing.
But she's also like very comforting for me to watch.
Oh,
for
yeah.
whatever reason.
Oh, she's
takes care-
sexy, bro.
Yeah,
She
she's
really is,
fucking
man. She really takes
sexy,
care of
bro.
business. Really, really. amazing
Leftovers
actor.
is a pretty bad show in my opinion, and she's like doing
Oh.
her best in that show. Like she's like helping it be good. But anyway, Carrie Coon.
And one more. I just watched Horizon, and the way that
Horizon.
Horizon is the fucking
Harrison Ford movie?
No, Horizon's the new. Jesus Christ, I can't remember anything.
Yeah. The Poppers.
Poppers, David.
Poppers. Kevin, it's the new Kevin Costner movie. the
Oh,
one that he,
Kevin
like,
Costner, yeah, yeah.
self-produced stuff.
Oh,
So the
yeah,
way
yeah.
that I did it, dude, was because I was like, I need to watch good movies again. I'm not sure if this is gonna be one, but it's like 3 hours long. I was like, I'm just gonna watch it when I can. You don't have to
Yeah.
finish it
Yeah.
when I go. I
12
sit down,
minutes, 30
half
minutes.
hour,
Yeah,
half
yeah,
hour,
yeah,
half
yeah,
hour.
yeah,
yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah,
later,
yeah.
I finished it.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was good. I enjoyed, except for the last half hour. But I thought Scott Hayes was like really marvelous.
Wow. I gotta see it. I gotta see that movie. He put that hurt him. That hurt him because he put a lot of money in that movie.
Yeah, he sure
Harrison
did.
Ford.
Oh.
I mean, fucking good for him.
Yeah,
he sure
listen.
did.
Like,
fuck yeah, baby.
That movie, I thought I was genuinely very into it.
You know what I watched? Sorry. I watched JFK recently, Oliver Stone.
Mm.
Have you seen that?
Don't look at me like that.
Although I love
pig. You know, because I'm very into.
He's
But that's
I
great-
love it. He's a conspiracy theorist, and I love it all.
We all
love
are.
the Kennedys.
We all, dude, don't talk to these two dudes. These dudes are on my level. You're the outcast. You're
know.
the fucking
I'm- yeah,
normie.
no,
These
listen,
guys,
I'm
these.
fucking
I'm an
normie.
institutionalist, but I own it. You can tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
Pro-establishment.
Yeah, exactly.
Me
You
and
love
Hillary
it.
will
Yeah.
go and buddy, but that's my girl.
Yeah, you're like we have to tell this story. So we were in Winston. We were teaching at a school, and we're in fucking North Carolina. This was so. There was this white family walking by, and the dad had like a USA shirt on, and then Joshua literally had the. This is how crazy he is. He literally, just like as a joke, he had the window down and he jerked the steering wheel towards them, and he went, "Come on!" Yo, it was. We were apart. He went, "Come on!"
I like Kamala. I like Kamala.
But he pretended like he was gonna run this
excited
family
for
over.
Kamala.
It was fucking incredible. It was amazing.
No, because okay. We're
No.
gonna do a part 2 because I gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta do a part 2. You guys are great. Thank you.
Thanks,
This is
guys.
great,
This was
dude.
really fun.
Poppers.
Thank you guys so much.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Creative Risk. If you've enjoyed, please don't forget to like, subscribe here on YouTube, follow our channel, or follow us on your favorite podcast app. A quick review on Apple Podcasts, like we said, would mean the world to us. We read them all, as I said. And if you want to go deeper, join our Patreon community starting at just $5 a month for exclusive content, motivation, and a supportive community. Check out patreon.com/Creative Risk Podcast, and we'll see you next time.